warped in, but you'll have what, like 3 storms, 4 storms maybe.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, that's game over. You
Yeah,
lost.
it's putting a lot in those 3 to 4
Yeah.
storms.
Mm-hmm.
If you mess up, you're screwed.
It's
Whereas
hard to mess up
Colossus are-
Colossus too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty easy to micro in comparison.
Mm-hmm. As long as you're not. Who's that? Rain? In Season 2 finals?
Oh, you're bringing that up again?
Don't bring tears to these Protoss eyes.
No, I'm the biggest Rain fanboy. You can't do this to me.
Alright, so I think that's it for Group B then. Trap just played like really good. And then I think most of us said Keen would get out too. I think, yeah, actually all of us, I think, picked Keen and Symbol, and instead it was Trap and Keen. Keen played really good too. But yeah, and then the recent group, Group C, which was supposed to be SOS, Deer, Jangbi, and Supernova. Well, Jangbi decided to retire. I honestly I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess he said it was because he's going to go into the military in a year. But, like, in my opinion, Jangbi became the ace for Samsung. Like, he was doing the best in Pro League toward the end. He had made it into Code S, and he was looking, like, really good in his play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I watched a lot of Jangbi because I was, like, learning from him and stealing some of his builds and whatnot. So, and I mean, we all obviously thought he was going to get out of that group because we all picked Jangbi to get out of the group, and then he announces he's retiring. So I guess before I even talked about the group, if any of you guys have thoughts on that, or are you just sad pandas like me that Jangbi decided not to play anymore?
Every time a Protoss quits, I'm sad. Unless
Yeah,
it's
it's kind of
SOS.
random. Like,
SOS can quit. I'll be fine.
All right then.
Alright, so on to the group then, I guess. So it's just a 3-man group, so it's like a really quick group, and most of the games are actually pretty silly, to be completely honest, so we won't spend much time on it at all. Game 1 was Supernova versus Deer on Belshir, and it was an Immortal Bus build, okay? And Supernova actually scouts that the Robo's building something, and it's being chronoed twice, and he apparently decides, nope, I'm going 3cc, and the Immortal Bus just kind of killed him, because despite the fact his Reaper should have seen it coming, he built a 3rd CC and only had 1 bunker ready, and then the Immortal Bus hit, and he just flat out died.
Oh, not a lot to say about that then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever use this build against Terran or not, but like, unless the Terran like heavily screws up, Immortal Bus actually isn't that strong. I don't think, at least.
I agree. That's why I never do it.
I try and it never works. I think the best way to do it is proxy Immortal Blast. But, like, it's kind of gimmicky.
Yeah, I think that's better. I
Pretty
think, yeah, because if they open Reaper, they should scout it, like every
Yeah.
time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So yeah, game 1 pretty silly. No need to watch it. Game 2 was kind of wonky. It was Polar Night, and Deer opens with like a proxy Oracle, except he didn't like proxy it close to Supernova. He proxied it right outside his own main base. Like on Polar Night, you have the airspace like right next to your main, like on either side of it, and that's where he proxied the Oracle. So, I mean, yeah, the SCV or whatever isn't going to scout it in his main base, but at the same time, it's not like any closer to Supernova's base. And I think it kills like maybe 5-6 Marines and 2 or 3 SCVs, like not a whole lot. And Supernova, like, dealt with it pretty well, and I felt like he was ahead. And then Trap does what most all Protosses do when they're behind, and he goes Dark Shrine and Storm at the same time. And the DT run-bys and the DTs with the Warp Prism kind of kicked a lot of ass, and it put Deer in a good position to where he just started storming and winning the game again. Any thoughts?
No.
That doesn't sound like any thoughts.
It's pretty straightforward.
Seems weird to proxy like that, since shouldn't have pylon missing in your base. Give it away.
Yeah,
So,
well,
like,
that's
what's
the
the
thing. It
point?
didn't make sense to me. Yeah.
Did he scout the normal proxy location on Polar Night? Like,
Behind the main
Behind.
base? No.
yeah,
He didn't even look for that. Like, I'm pretty
Because
certain. Like,
because that's a really good proxy location on Polar Night. So it's weird that he.
yeah, I agree. When we talk about
use
Polar
that.
Night, I'll talk about that a little more because we're going to talk about the maps, but I'll talk about that just a little bit more. So yeah, almost through with this. And then SOS versus Deer, game 1 then, to move on. SOS is back to being SOS, doing the wonkiest shit that you'll ever see. Like, he just does weird builds and he wins with them. And while SOS obviously wins games, I don't know if he's the best player to learn from because how overly gimmicky he is, like, to a point. What he does is he does the 9 pylon, and then he goes and does a double gas steal. And then he 4 gates. And as you know, if you double gas steal, the opposing player is not going to be able to get warp gate or stalkers. And so the 4 gate with stalkers just kills him. Another pretty silly game. Any
You know what?
thoughts?
Yeah, I have a thought. Like, how... If someone steals one of your gases, right?
Yeah.
They have to go all the way to the other gas.
the
Yes.
little one.
And I'm thinking, you probably
Yeah.
could take your gas before he could take the other one.
Yeah, it's worth it to cut that probe to prevent him from stealing your second gas. I would say so.
Or you could just
That's
like do the
fine.
thing where you like block the gas geyser if you really want to.
You used to
Yeah,
do that shit
also
all the time.
viable.
Remember when everyone would gas steal PvP? Like,
Yeah.
not double gas steal, but
You
everyone
shouldn't be able to double gas steal.
I agree.
Yeah.
So yeah, somehow the build worked.
He was
I don't know
micro
how.
was too hard. This was
But yeah.
Korean Protoss,
Yeah,
you know.
he was doing too much early game spam. Had to hit that 350 APM.
Mhm.
Game 2 was also quite silly, which this group wasn't that good. I'm still advising. Probably not much to see here. But game 2 was Proxy Oracle for Deer against DTs for SOS. Except when the DTs warped in to Deer's main, the Oracles were still across the map, not dealing damage because of overcharge and stalkers. And so the DTs killed Deer. that's basically it. The DTs kill all the stuff he had at home. His army that he kept warping in with the one observer he finally got out, and then SOS walked across the map. And
Was
killed
it
him.
proxy DTs?
No.
No?
It was in SOS's main. It was just hidden in the back, and he overcharged the moment the Oracle flew in, so the Oracle flew right back out and didn't see the Dark Shrine. So yeah,
He could have assumed it better, I think, like with what he saw, but whatever.
yeah. It's, like I said, a pretty silly game.
Gotta have the
And
Dark
then-
Templar sense, you know?
So then we go back into Deer vs Supernova round 2, and these games were a little bit better than the first ones in my opinion. Game 1 was Akalon, and Deer does the quick warp Prism and Storm again, skipping Colossus, and we can show a clip of this. And it was Supernova basically trying to defend the oncoming like Zealot High Templar push, like a timing with Storm before Ghosts were out. And it's basically just or no, this is a flank, sorry, I got my games confused. This is a 6 Storm flank. But like the first 2 Supernova dodges perfectly, which in my opinion the Terran should, like at this stage in the game, because it's so early that they can't have that many High Templar. And then he starts to try and kite the Zealots, and it's a Storm sandwich.
Ouch.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, that's GG. Any thoughts there?
I don't know how you could come back from that.
Yeah, that's pretty sickening. That's pretty sickening.
I mean, this little drop in the main's cute and all, but
Yeah. So I mean, what do you guys think about that? Like, I mean, if you open Storm like that, like super early, how do you feel about putting like instead? Like, I know you always kind of want to warp in your first few High Templar with your main army, but what do you think about only keeping like 1 or 2 High Templar with your main army and warping in the other ones in like a flanking or a defensive location of your third or something instead of?
I think Supernova, like, what's his name? Deer. Deer did a weird build, right? Because he had no stalkers, and he went to Colossus, then to Storm. Like, that's like kind of odd, right? So then, I don't know, I think Supernova just didn't have the right unit comp. Like, he went Ghost really early, and he had some Vikings. I don't think he was winning that fight.
Yeah. Okay, and then game 2 was like actually a really cool game to watch for the openers, except Deer got pretty lucky. Like, it was on Polar Night, and if you play Protoss, you probably have seen this on ladder already. A Terran can put a siege tank right behind your natural on Polar Night, and then use anything for vision and kill most of your probes. And so Supernova does a proxy factory with the tech lab, gets the siege tank out, and then puts a bunker behind there too to protect it from like anything coming in and like flanking the tank to kill it off. And so he's got like a bunker defending his siege tank. Well, it just so happens that Deer opened up 4 Phoenix, and he just goes and lifts the siege tank. And so despite the fact he lost some mining time and a handful of probes, a small handful, like the Phoenix cleaned it up perfectly. But I feel like if Deer would have opened any way besides Phoenix, that the 2 siege tanks behind his mineral line with the bunker and the Marines there would have done like far more damage and put Supernova in a big lead. And basically from there, Deer just goes into Storm again instead of Colossus, and he does the same one forge that he's done all day against Supernova.
I think you know where Protoss are going to be scouting, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I
That'll
think he
stop
could
that
have
right quick.
looked at his motion report.
Like that's already a common proxy spot, like on that map in general. It's usually a little closer to the left, but he did
You
it like
should
on the
always
right
be
behind the rocks.
scouting for proxy factory. I mean, unless you're one of the people that likes to scout the main with the mothership core. Like, your mothership core, you know, scout for the proxy factory, especially if you know they're opening gas.
Yeah, that's what I was
Might as
doing.
well.
Mothership core. Straight to, yeah, it's good for a proxy factory.
Alright, so
Never actually run into a proxy tank, but, you know, yeah.
yeah, that's
You don't assume proxy tank, but I mean,
The lift
check
into your
that.
main Widow Mine thing that they,
Yep.
some Terrans
That's
try
really
occasionally.
I thought this was going to become really popular when HOTS first came out. You need siege mode, and then it just didn't. It's motherships.
mothership core, yeah. Alright, well let's do predictions quick, I guess, and then we can go on to our break. So coming up before our next episode will be groups E, F, and G, and those all have Protoss. So hopefully they can make it out. But why don't you just start? Go ahead. Somebody start their prediction for group E.
First, and I'm going to go with Flash, but it could be Hive as well. It's a pretty
I think
strong group.
first and Flash also. Any objections? I know Bright objects.
First and
Yeah.
Flash.
First in Jakshi.
First and Jockji.
Yeah,
Jockji's gonna
it's a pretty
surprise.
strong group. It is a,
It
pretty
is a strong group.
Jockji has like weird TVT builds, and in my opinion, Flash's weakness is in the early game because he's actually quite greedy, kind of like Innovation. So, I think Jockji could definitely get out, and Jockji's pretty good against cheese, too, and he was such a cheesy Zerg. And
I don't
first
think this
played
is
against
Hive's group.
Yeah,
All these
first
guys
played
are good
against
against
him
cheese.
already last season, so he knows how cheesy this guy is. Hiva like 6-pulled him twice in a row, like 2 games out of 3. So I don't
I'm sure
think
all the
first will lose
Koreans
to him.
know how cheesy he is.
So Group
Alright.
F.
F.
I guess I'll go
Oh.
first again. Innovation, and I haven't really seen Hero play, but probably Gumiho. I'm not really sure though. This could kind of go either way for second place, I think.
Innovation DRG.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I agree.
Bones?
DRG's been
Innovation,
looking
DRG.
better lately.
What do you
DRG
think?
got back into Code S to get his Nesty Award, by the way. This is his Nesty Award season, so he'll get it 10 in a row. So
Say
he's not going
Innovation
to lose.
Hero.
Innovation Hero.
Hero.
Is that what you think too, Promo?
No, I think Dangregu and Innovation.
Alright
It's not
then.
hard to agree on Innovation though.
Yeah, he's not going to lose. Not in the round of 32 at least.
And Group G.
This could be the bright curse.
Oh, dude, that's the bright
Yeah.
blessing. Normally the players I predict do well.
Group G is the scariest group ever. Like, if Rain doesn't make it out of Group G, like, I'm gonna be so sad. I won't know what to do with myself.
Okay, why don't you predict then first?
Shit. Fine. Rain and True. That's my prediction.
I'm going to go Rain and Lucira. Lucira's gotten out of the round of 32 like his last 2 or 3 seasons now. And I think he's gotten quite good. Especially in ZVZ, Lucira's like really good. So I'm going with Rain and Kangho / Lucira, same guy.
Cowman, predictions?
I agree with Brad on this one, Ring and King Ho. Not
Bones?
Lucira. Yeah.
I say Rain. I'm not sure which Zerg though. It's gonna be whichever Zerg has the better ZVZ.
That's true. Throw a name out. Give it to me.
Kind of want to pick Song Duri because he's like the dark underdog or whatever.
And no one picked him.
I'll go for True.
Fair enough. Alright.
Could we just say, like, what if Rain doesn't make it out of this group? Like, what if?
I don't
I-
think he's.
What do we do?
He's only training PvZ. There's no way he's not
Yeah,
You better
exactly.
give me the greatest PVZ build ever to copy. That's all I have to say.
Mhm.
Yeah,
This
like
is
in
a
my
chance for
opinion,
that.
Rain's a little too standard against Zerg that I feel Zergs can punish him for it, and I
No,
think that's why
he's
he
gonna